No doubt it's going to be the same today. Folks, we wish your team all the best in today's match as well. Do stay tuned in. The action is about to begin in 8 minutes. Zubin sir, players to watch out today?
Look, it's a big game, and that's where you typically go with the big names. You expect them to step up and come to the party. Guys like Parth Tharka, Sandeep Lamichhane, you expect them. You expect them to bring their A game to the match. But at the same time, if you are the opposition playing against these guys, you're looking for the opportunity to try and make the most of it and probably put one over there. So, yeah, everything to play for today.
Indeed, and much more so for Singapore in today's match. If they win, it will be a big boost for Singapore cricket, as I was mentioning earlier, folks. Nepal is already well on their way on the world stage. Singapore making some good progress and winning today and going to the next tournament for the World T20 qualifiers, which will be happening in Dubai, which will be the World Finals, out of which I believe 6 teams go to Australia next year to play in the T20 World Cup, which is happening in October 2020. The weather is lovely here this morning. The sun is out, but not quite beaming down yet. There are some clouds about, but definitely it is unlikely to rain, as I was looking up at the weather slightly earlier.
Although there's a forecast for thunderstorms, and Jamal and I were talking about this yesterday about how often the weatherman gets it wrong, and we hope the weatherman stays true to form and gets it wrong this time as well.
Indeed, I really hope so as well, Zubin, because we do want to see a complete game here.
Absolutely.
It's a beautiful sight, this ground here at IA. The outfield is shaped nicely for the ball to run down along the ground. If hit hard, the groundsman put in a lot of effort on the pitch here as well. I was mentioning the other day in the Singapore-Malaysia match, there are matches happening here all the time with the 3 wickets. They do a fantastic job, as you would have heard in the pitch report that Zubin did this morning as well. Looks like a cracker of a wicket.
It is. There's only been one game played between Kuwait and Qatar, and that was a high-scoring affair, probably the highest-scoring match in the tournament. They've been preserving this wicket for the final, and it looks nice and hard. It was probably just a little damp in the morning, and that should even out with the sun baking over it for the last couple of hours. This ground can be deceptive of sorts. It doesn't look very big, but there's a lot of purchase, there's a lot of return for the shots that you play. Good cricketing shots, you get boundaries over here a lot easier. Batsmen tend to sort of want to go for the big hit and clear the rope every time, not realizing that there's a lot of purchase if they just play good conventional cricket. And, a 4 is not that bad a return.
Oh yes, and we're talking about conventional cricket. There was a really good mix of that displayed by Singapore in that chase of 94 against Malaysia, which they chased down in the 14th over. A very good mix of that positive intent of stroking the ball around to keep ticking the singles and the doubles, and then taking in the boundaries. As we see the Nepal team already on the park, and the Singapore batsmen are walking in. Surinder Chandramohan and Rohan Rangarajan, an exciting young talent for Singapore.
We do have Rohan's been a star right from the age group cricket, and he has done well. But this is the game you want to really do well. This is the one where you want to bring your A game
Oh,
to the ground.
yes, I completely agree with that, Zubin, and all the youngsters watching out there today. I hope you guys will get to see a masterclass in batting, in approach, in intent from these two young batters for Singapore opening their innings. Surinder will be taking strike to face Nepal's opening bowler Sompal Kami. 9:28. Play about to commence, folks. As I was mentioning earlier, please like and share the lead on your social, the link, I should say, on your social media pages, so that more people can watch this exciting encounter about to begin. First ball about to be bowled. Okay, my apologies, folks. It's Rohan who is on strike. Surinder at the non-striker's end. And I figured that out because of that I didn't see that little shimmy of the front leg just before the bowler comes in to bowl that Surinder does. Rohan off the mark with that single in the covers.
Played that down well. Well judged single. Good understanding between the two batsmen. Very important, especially in T20 cricket, because what you don't want to do is give the opposition dot balls, and even a single, as you keep ticking it over, makes a big difference.
Exactly. I mean, it just comes back to the basics of it too, that you want to look to score of every ball. What do you think of the stance there from Surendran? Opened up. Is he just eyeing his favorite area? Is that why he's taken that stance? Do you think he wants to hit the ball in a certain area, Zubin?
I've never really been big on stance. It's never made that much of a difference to me. I think what I look for is the balance, and how quickly a player is able to get into position. I mean, talking about stances and talking about twitches, I mean, Steve Smith is a classic example. I mean, you would not, if you didn't know him and you saw him bat in a net, you'd wonder what that man was doing with the bat. But he's probably the best, in my opinion, the best test batsman. The only thing I find about Surendran is the way he shapes up to bat, he is going to be inclined to want to get onto the front foot, which is again very typical of players who've grown up playing in South Asia or are of that descent. They like to get on the front foot versus players who play in Australia or elsewhere who are probably better on the back foot because of the nature of wickets.
Nicely bowled that last ball. One for the loss of none. Power play on, folks. first over only 1 run. There's still 5 more overs Singapore would want to make the most of it. Zubin?
Yes, and this is where experience is gold. I think Surendran is finding himself in a situation that he's not too accustomed to, and it sometimes can get, the better of you. It would almost help that the ball flew off the edge and he got a run, and those hands and legs would start moving. He's currently about um, he's a few seconds late on the ball, as we call it, and it's the bowler's got the upper hand, and Rohan on the other hand was very confident playing it off. He's just played that many more games for Singapore opening the batting, so I think that was what was visible in that first over. Hopefully he gets his eye in quickly and gets on his way.
Yes, Singapore definitely needs that.
Interesting ball by Karan. Had us all fooled.
Yes. It's obviously those nerves are on at both ends at the moment. A very important game for both teams.
Yes, and I would think Nepal have more to lose than Singapore, given their reputation and their ranking. They would be expected to win this and get through. That said, cricket's a funny game.
Again, very smartly done by Rohan Rangarajan, stealing a single there. Surendran knows the ground and the conditions very well. I was mentioning the other day when they were playing Malaysia as well. I've seen him hit many big hundreds on this ground as well. So you would hope that he would just let his instincts take over and just back himself to go big.
Instincts, yes, but different opposition here. There's a different caliber that they're playing against, and there he goes. The instincts have taken over. First boundary of the game.
Yep, got enough meat on that one. Although it did look like it didn't really get under it that well, but as you can see, got the result. If Surendran keeps going and stays for most part of the innings, we're going to see a big score. Although Singapore bats deep as well. Your thoughts on that shot?
He's getting rid of his nerves. He's decided enough is enough. This is the big game. He's not going to die wondering. He's not. And good on him.
Oh yes.
He's taking on the bowler. He's reading it. Karan has bowled both these balls. He's not pitching it up, unlike the European bowler who was pitching it up and getting it removed. Karan is trying to get it in the stumps, and that kind of it suits Surendran.
Yes, so far so good. I would love to see him do well from here. And this has been one hit too many.
Yes. I
Again,
didn't want to say it earlier, but this was, you would feel this was coming. It seemed more like nervous batting than it looked like a plan.
yes, certainly. And having scored 2 back-to-back boundaries, already 9 runs off the over, you wouldn't want to take that risk.
And as I said, experience. And this is where the nerves come in. This is where you want to be thinking about your game. This is where 120 balls is a very long time. People often underestimate how long that can be. If you were to target getting a boundary every fifth ball even, or sixth ball, with the bulk of them coming towards the end of the inning, that still puts up a very good score on the scoreboard. And he got two boundaries there, but it is what it is. So batsman in is Tim David, and let's see what he has for us.
Played behind, square by Rohan for another single.
It's a leg by. Signal by the umpire.
Tim's Tim's short stay at the crease the other day against Malaysia, and he was run out. I think he scored about 12 runs, had a couple of boundaries in there. Very good approach, I thought. He was very positive, and played some smart cricket in that short stay.
Well bowled. And there's the experience of Karan coming through. I mean, he was not ruffled, got hit for two boundaries, held his line, focused on what was under his control, and got that wicket. So they are a very strong side, they're an experienced side, and that kind of showed in that over where he didn't get disturbed and was able to get the wicket of Surendra.
Yes, and at this level, it is that bit about holding your nerves, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And that's where I think Nepal has the edge over Singapore. It's the experience of playing bigger games, bigger teams. Their players play a very high standard of cricket, and that's going to come in very, very handy to them in this game.
To mid-off dot ball.
I like Sopal, the way he comes in and sets himself up. He's got a very nice run-up, nice flowing, and a good last stride. You can see by the carry he got on that ball and surprised Rohan Rangarajan. He is one of those deceptive quicker bowlers. They don't look very big. They're just, he's not that big, but he comes in, he bowls a heavy ball.
Yes, that last ball surprised me as well. The way it kicked up.
Well bowled and well played for one, third man.
Yes, dropped his hands nicely on that one, Rohan, and I feel he's this approach of wanting to take the single and get off strike. If everyone has that throughout the game, it'll definitely help Singapore well, especially as the fourth ball is about to be bowled.
Tim wanted to go for a single there. I think he lost sight of where the fielder was behind the non-striker and quickly retreated back to his crease. Very good, another very good over, shaping up by Sopal. He's bowled really well. He's been the pick of the two bowlers so far for me, although I know it's Karan who got the wicket, but he's steaming in, he's hitting the deck hard and bowling a very good line.
Yes, not giving an inch. nicely by Tim around his legs for that single. That run that Tim wanted to take earlier, I was mentioning the other day when he got run out with Surendran at the other end, it's also that he's just recently joined the squad. Most of these players have played with each other over long periods of time.
Well bowled.
Indeed.
He did it for pace on that one. Hurried him. And another leg by. Could come down quick enough on the ball. Rohan?
Yes. But yes, that run out side of it, as I was mentioning with Timothy, and I think that's possibly also something to do with it. I mean, he obviously is keen to get runs, keen to get off strike, but when you don't have that much experience of playing against each other, it does make it that tad bit harder, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, this game is played a lot between the years, and it's all down to what you're thinking and the mindset. In the meantime, Karan comes in, bowls.
Pitched up nicely. There's still about 3 overs of the power play left. At some stage, you would expect them to try and hit a couple over the top.
I would just focus on playing good cricket. Again, it's a bit like short boundaries, and you know how they can entice you into a false sense of confidence. I think power plays, I'm sure there's data on this somewhere, but if we actually look at it statistically, you'll be amazed at how many wickets are lost during power plays, simply because the batsmen are trying or over trying. And batting is best when it's reactive, when you react to a situation, or you react rather than try and, unless you're the likes of Viv Richards or Arvind Silva or look at how David Warner is batting now. He's playing the game rather than his approach from a few years ago. And you look at the change in the quantum of runs that he's making and the consistency. So they've got to keep the power play out of their minds and just focus on good batting. It's still a long way to go. There's 17 overs almost left in this game. That is 100. That's about 98 balls, if you may. A lot can happen between now and then.
Indeed, very well said, Zubin.
It usually is also the best opposition bowlers that are bowling to you in the power play. So you got to keep that in mind. You got to know which bowlers you're going to pick on, who are the ones you're going to score off. Do your homework. Good single by Tim there. I like this approach where they're dropping the ball and taking the singles. It at least keeps the scoreboard ticking.
Totally agree. I mean, as much as you want to see, as an audience, boundaries being scored, if you're not going to continue to rotate the strike, it is always going to hurt you.
Well, the other thing is, if it was all boundaries, nobody would want to be bowlers then, right? You got to give credit to the bowlers when it's due. They're bowling exceptionally well, and they've really got these two batsmen tied down. And it's a game where you give respect to the situation, the opposition, and you wait for your turn.
Oh yes, I mean, and like you were mentioning just then as well, you have to look to go after that fourth, fifth bowler. There is going to be somewhere those opportunities you're going to get for those loose balls. Okay. Rohan wanted to try and swat that over square, but got a thick inside edge. He wouldn't complain though, I'm sure.
He'll take the 4 runs, although he would have probably wanted them to go through covers, which is or long off or wherever he was trying to hit that ball. I'm not too sure, but it's a welcome boundary for Singapore, and they should just ease the nerves a little bit. It also tells you they fancy Karan more. They take more chances against him.
Again, tried to drop that ball into the pitch to run a single. Fielded well by the Nepal fielder at short cover.
I reckon the fielder would have run the batsman out by just walking to the stump had he gone for that run. But good over for Singapore. I think that saw 6 runs coming from it. Not much to talk about in terms of a run rate yet, but these two need to consolidate, get their eye in. Once they're in, you think they'd get a move on from there.
Yes, and you do want to do that. I mean, Malaysia the other day in the match when they lost those couple of quick wickets against Singapore, they lost that momentum. They were in 2 minds and didn't go for runs at all, which didn't help their cause. Folks, this live telecast of the match being brought to you exclusively by the Singapore Cricket Association and WEC Sports. There's a lot of effort and planning that goes into bringing this to you guys in your lounge rooms, and we certainly hope you will stay throughout the game and bring your friends in by sharing the link as well on your Facebook pages.
The player we were all talking about, Sandeep Lamicchane, coming into bowl now. It's a very good run by Rohan. He backed up his partner really well. It's very easy taking the good runs for yourself, but when you do it for your partner, that inspires a lot of confidence.
Oh yes, it's very well said. It's something. In fact, my son plays, and I always say to him, don't go to the danger end when you're running.
Spoken like a dad.
Yes. Another single. They just keep motoring along those singles. I think it'll go a long way as I keep repeating it. But also, I'll wait for the ball to be bowled.
It'll keep them in the game. It won't help them win it, but it'll keep them in the game. This is a very, very experienced and a very strong Nepal team. Lamicchane is a very seasoned, experienced compared to the players on the field. He's played with the big wigs, and that will reflect in the confidence that he brings to the ground.
That was a bit of a hopeful appeal, I thought. Was definitely going down leg. As you can see in the replay here. Zubin sir, I'd love to hear. Nicely played by Timothy behind square for a boundary. Nicely played by Timothy behind square for a boundary. As you see in the replay there.
He just pulled that down too much, Lamicchane, and Tim latched onto it instantly. The previous ball was a little more pitched up, and that's where he did him. He had him in 2 minds, and that allowed appeal. And again, well bowled.
Well bowled and well played.
And well played, yes.
is definitely one to not mess about. He wants to keep going. You can see from the approach. Oh, nicely played. Very nicely played by Rangarajan. Straight down the ground. For a 6.
That's a much better shot than the one he tried 2 balls ago, where he tried a bit of a slog sweep. If you are going to play a bowler of Lamichan's class, then you need to be doing that well. You can't be losing your shape against him. A really good shot, stepped out and dispatched that. That would probably go for 6 on most grounds.
And that will also give him a lot of confidence for this innings as well, taking on Lamichane. As the over is about to switch over, I will now take a short break and ask Sharon Swaminathan to join Zubin for the next few overs. We'll see you back in a short while, folks.
Thanks, Cash. Hey, Zubin, how you going?
Hi, Sharon.
Interesting start. Singapore would be happy with the start?
Absolutely.
Cash.
They're doing 7 and over, almost in the first 5. You're against an opponent who is ranked higher and a strong side. Definitely a good start, and need to continue from here.
As we can see, Basant Regmi, left arm orthodox, coming into bowl. Tends to bowl a bit slower in the air, trying to tempt the batsman to play. And Timothy's gone over mid-on for 4 of the first ball, looking to put the pressure on the bowler straight away.
The 2 shots, the 2 boundaries that Timothy has played so far, he's known exactly where the fielders are. He knew the long on, the fielder at mid-on was up in the circle. He didn't try to hit it too hard or go for 6. He just wanted to get it over the fielder, and that's exactly what he did. Smart batting. It'll be interesting to see how the bowler responds to this.
The bowler's moving his deep square leg to a cow corner, looking at that shot. Probably wants to target Timothy's pads and flight it in so he can tempt a slog towards cow corner. That's interesting. That's the second time a bowler has done this, Ruben.
Yeah, it's an old bowler's trick to sometimes see what the batsman does as a trigger or a movement. I don't think it's always done because the ball was going to slip out of the hand. Smart bowlers do it. And that's another beautiful shot by Tim David. He has creamed that through covers.
He certainly looks on strong, Zubin. It's really important if Singapore wants to get a good total around the 190 mark, which is what has been sort of predicted in terms of score for this wicket. It's key that Tim stays to it till the end.
Yes, it is. And, he plays his cricket in Australia, and we all know the type of cricket they play in Australia, which is good, hard, aggressive cricket. And what he's done here is he's taking the challenge to the bowler in the first 3 balls. Good batting. Getting off strike after 2 boundaries in the over. Smart play. Getting off strike after. It's an interesting field. Regmi has said he's got protection on long on and deep mid wicket, and that means he's really got to keep the ball in and around middle stump, which is okay given that the ball is new. But we saw that shot go through covers, which was a ball that sort of flighted and pitched way outside off stump. So he's got to be very careful of his line and make sure there's no room given on the offside.
Again, Basant trying to tempt Rohan into a big shot there. He's actually got the long off back and mid-wicket, and he's hoping if the batsman goes for a big shot, he would get the leading edge too long off.
Yes, he did that. I think he did that for Rohan, where he got the long off back. He had long on and mid wicket for Tim. He did that. I think he did that for Rohan, where he got the long off back. He had long on and mid wicket for Tim.
Pushed away towards car corner for a single. Basant Regmi, a very experienced campaigner for Nepal, been playing with them for a long time. One of the key members in assisting Nepal towards ODI status. He's an experienced campaigner, certainly gone for runs off his first over.
And I'm sure he's got a few tricks up his sleeve. He won't be done by this one over. The batsman may have gotten the better of him this time, but it's important that and there we see in the last ball he beat Rohan all ends up. Experience counts, it always does.
Looks like Lamichane just had that one over, and they've gone back to Sompal Kami, who opened the innings for Nepal. His bowling, he's a pretty skiddy character. Bowls around the 130, 135, click, and tends to skid and rush the batsman a bit. He does have a decent bouncer as well. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes against Tim Davids.
I like Sompal. I like the way, I was saying this earlier, I like his approach to the wicket. It's very balanced. He gets good momentum as he comes in, and he's got a good action. He looks balanced. He's just a little open-chested, I think. As he, if he rotated himself a little more, maybe he'll get a little more movement both ways. But otherwise, he looks really good coming into bowl.
Yeah, he's that typical rhythm sort of bowler. When you know on his day, he runs it really well. Everything's going towards the batsman in terms of energy, hand, legs, entire body movement. You know he's going to certainly create some trouble. Played nice and late by Rohan, but straight through to the point fielder. One thing really impressive about Rohan, especially during the start of the innings, is he tends to play the ball really late and tries to nudge it around towards that point and backward point area for singles, which is not an easy thing to do, but he sort of mastered that art of opening the batting and just trying to rotate the singles as much as he can.
Indeed, and which is why you see against the spinners on the two occasions so far, he's got that slog sweep that he tries, and I don't know why he does that, because he's such a good player coming down the track and playing a conventional cricket shot. You see he likes the ball coming onto the bat in the beginning, but he's a good player technically, and just the odd time, and that becomes his downfall on a lot of occasions where he tends to give his wicket away, but otherwise a very, very good prospect.
That's extremely well fielded at fine leg. Put in the dive, really quick outfield. Ball was absolutely racing away to the boundary, and he's restricted the batsman for 2 runs.
Very good cricket all round. That was short into Tim, and he did well to play that towards back and square leg, and great fielding on the boundary there. Certainly saved 2.
That ball would have usually been at a batsman's throat unless it was Tim Davids, where it was just at his hips.
Oh, cracking shot.
Absolutely caressed through backward point by Tim. He backed away, gave himself some room, and hit that through backward point. Fantastic shot. He certainly looks like he's on song. He's coming with that attitude and that intent this innings. Singapore will be looking for him to go big. I was talking to the CEO of the Singapore Cricket Association, Mr. Saad Khan Janjua, and he mentioned Tim and the SC have been in touch for the last 3 to 4 years to see what was his. Oh, that's full toss down leg side, tickled away, straight to final leg for 4. Oh, that's what pressure does to you. As I was mentioning, Zubin, Mr. Saad mentioned Tim and SE have been in touch for the last 3 to 4 years to see what Tim was looking at from a career pathway standpoint, and when the opportunity arose for him to arrive here in Singapore to represent the nation and he qualified, it sort of aligned with regards to SCA's interests as well as for Tim. So it's great to see that something like this has worked out.
Yes, and this is credit here goes. I think it's the ICC and how they've created the qualification. One is if you're born and they just want more teams having more good players to play for them. There's a lot of the big nations or the ones with larger cricket playing populations have it better that way. They have a bigger pool of players to pick from. Tim certainly helps the Singapore cause, and he helps the Singapore cause. And given the standard of cricket that he plays in Western Australia, I think it must have been a tough decision for him because every decision has its implications.
Rowan down the ground, hits it straight over long off. I was predicting this. Rowan's someone who has extremely itchy feet, and when it comes to a spinner and someone who flights it to the likes of Basan, he's not the sort of player that's going to sit back and let the bowler dictate terms.
And this is the difference I was talking about, where he plays a proper conventional grading shot versus going down on one knee and trying to just hit it. He tried that in the first over with Basan. Basan doing the right thing. He's tempting the batsman to make a mistake, and
that's a cracking shot behind point. Prasant now bowled a ball pitched up. He's gone down the track, tried to shorten it a little bit, and Rowan's caressed it through backward point. Really good batting here. Certainly put pressure back onto the bowler. This is the third over in the row that the batsmen have certainly put pressure onto the bowler in the first few deliveries. So Singapore approaching each over with the right mindset.
And they're doing it by good batting. It's pretty risk-free so far. The shots played have been very high caliber. Basan seems to be a little off color. He's giving the ball good air, but he's just not sort of getting his line right like he did there.
That's a much better ball. You could see that he's put a little bit more body into that ball, and hence he's able to get the right length and the right pace on the ball as well. You could see that he's put a little bit more body into that ball, and hence he's able to get the right length.
The ball he got hit for 6, full credit, because it's there. He's inviting the batsman. He's playing his card there, and the batsman's taken him on. But it was the ball after that I thought was a bit of a poor follow through. Short and wide outside off stump, which Rohan punished for 4. That's very well hit. That's very well hit down the ground for 4.
Tim's absolutely smashed that ball straight past the bowler for a single. It was just a check drive, but he managed to get enough meat on it to get 4 runs. Singapore going at almost 10 runs and over. Really good start. That's a misfield towards car corner that's helped Tim Davids to come back for the second run. Really good batting by both Tim and Ron. Both of them have accelerated the innings, have got a couple of boundaries in the last 2 or 3 overs. They're certainly putting Singapore on track to get a good total. Nepal, on the other hand, needs something to break this partnership.
This is where the experience should come in. They need to just slow things down a little. Regmi just readjusting his field. nearly took his partner out there, Tim David, on that shot. It was very well left by Rohan at the non-striker's end. He nearly took his partner out there.
So going by history, usually at this point, Nepal would turn to their very experienced captain in the form of Paras, who's on screen at the moment, to either bowl his medium paces or at one point he actually converted to bowling off spin. But unfortunately, he doesn't bowl anymore because of an injury. So Nepal certainly could be feeling that just a tidy bit.
Probably, but there's so much talent in this side. I don't think teams come to a tournament. Certainly not Nepal. They've got a good cricket setup. They are a very good side. I'm sure they have the players. Paris's experience is going to come in very handy in this situation to get his players together and not let the game run away from them. But he's trying to see who the next bowler is.
The next bowler is A. Bohara. Abhinash Bohara. Next bowler is A. Bohara. Abhinash Bohara. Abhinash coming around the wicket, bowling right arm around. Bit of a slingy action first ball. I haven't seen much of Abhinash Zubin. He started off really well with the dot ball. Bit of a slingy action.
Interesting approach.
So he's bowling around the wicket with long on, cow corner, square leg, and a short fine. On the offside, Abhinash has got a third man point, covers a sweeper and long off. So he'll be looking to bowl wicket to wicket. He wouldn't want to be straying onto the pads as there's minimal protection back of square. That's
an incredible shot by Rohan Rangrajan. That's an incredible shot by Rohan Rangrajan.
He's pulled that between long on and cow corner, and absolute. He's pulled that between long on and cow corner, and absolute. Nicely played by Ron. He'll be targeted to come back for two, and he does. Nicely played by Ron. He'll be targeted to come back for two, and he does. Singapore certainly off to a great start here. Folks, if you've just tuned in, we'll give you an update after this ball. He's absolutely smashed that through long off. Another six. Zubin Rowan certainly getting into his stride here.
He is, and when he's playing shots like that, when he's batting like that, conventional, he's got great technique, and when he keeps his shape, he's one of the best batsmen to watch in the Singapore circuit. It's when he starts to lose shape or try something too much that he loses the plot. But
when he tries to overhit the ball,
absolutely, and that's what he's not doing here.
He's pushed that through to long gone for a run. So folks, if you've just tuned in, Singapore won the toss and elected to bat. He's pushed that through to long gone for a run. They opened the innings with Surendra Chandramohan and Rohan Rangarajan. Surendra Chandramohan getting two quick boundaries before departing to Karan Casey, hitting him straight to point, joined by Tim Davids, and both these batsmen have certainly dictated terms since then.